Creators Game, episode 42. I'm Daya Miller.
Chris Vale.
Tyson Bell.
And we're back. Yes, a lot of people have been basically saying that they need this. They need it in their life. Like literally someone just said that, I've been relapsing for the last 2 months because we haven't been potting.
Like you said, we didn't quit and there's no strike. We're back.
Oh yes, we're back. But let's just catch up. We got Tyson Bell. We're gonna get to you. But let's just catch up. How was your drive here?
I've done it over 1 million times, so it's the same thing. It's the same back road that I've always taken, and I love this community, right? Six Nations. I played for the Chiefs for a very long time, and it's always good to come back here.
Nice. And then Vale, what's any updates? I know you're a wild boy. You're out in these streets. Where's the updates?
I know, just like a lot of lacrosse, right? We were playing men's field, masters.
How many goals in men's league? Let them know.
Men's league, I haven't shot yet. Just been playing defense. I did score a couple in the last couple of tournaments that we were in for masters.
Have you ever seen Vale play?
I have played against him a few times.
I think I did score. Remember they were Tyson says, or somebody said what they say was his eyes were closed, and I said no. That's why I knew to pick the corner at that time.
That's funny.
How would you rate Vale's game?
Hard worker.
Tough defender.
I think he's in a few tournaments we've played against each other. He's sneaked in a lick or two here on me, which is obviously deserved. But no, all in all,
I did like what he does. Playing defense alongside. I remember in was at that fall field league, it was like 2019. I think he was the slide guy, and that guy I was guarding was like, I'm not trying to get around you and get Team Canada to slide on me. And I was like, sweet, I could just whack away on this guy.
All right, let's get right into it. All right, we got Tyson Bell. When's the first time you picked up a lacrosse stick?
I started late, growing up, big into hockey, high-level AAA hockey my whole life. And then with my dad and my Uncle Darren, who, they played baseball, high-level baseball, growing up as kids up until slow pitch. So for me, it was hockey and baseball. And then, back in the day, out in Grimsby at one of the rinks just off the highway there, my cousin Billy D and Mark Steinhaus, they ran the winter camps they had out there, which pretty much anyone around this area or back home went to that. And that's kind of what got me started. I started hanging around Billy D a little bit more, and one day said, you should come try out our camp. I'm sure you'll know a lot of the guys there. A lot of the guys that I played hockey with also played there. So I picked it up super quick, but like I said, I started late. So I think it wasn't until maybe 11, 12, 13 years old, I believe.
Oh, so a bit later then.
Yeah. But like I said, I picked it up super quick. And I think that helped just with playing with my hockey guys that were out there. It was familiar faces. And then next thing I know, I'm, trying out for the number one team, the box team, the field team, fortunate enough to make both those teams. So then now I was looking at, playing hockey all winter with these guys and then into the summer with the same group of guys. So it's I definitely got addicted to it, and happy it's brought me here today.
Yeah, and you can just tell by your build that you were probably you're an athlete. It doesn't matter what sport you're playing. I imagine that a coach would look at you and be like, "Yep, he's on the team." Just by I can just see that you're gonna be a top-notch athlete. And but I want to ask what do you think it was about lacrosse though? You could have took hockey, you could have played baseball, it could have got real into that. Why lacrosse?
Baseball, I played out of town. I played St. Catharines growing up, and then I played high level out in Welland, and then that kind of came to an end. And then hockey, AAA all the way up until juniors, and then I think it was just it's fast paced, right? It's you got to be smart with your hands, obviously your brain, and obviously your feet. So it was something that I enjoyed, and again, it was comfortable playing with the guys that I grew up with, and being with them for years, and I still keep in touch with them to this day, which is pretty cool. Just we get to talk about growing up, and I'm fortunate enough to carry it through and play at this level that I'm at, and for them to still be able to watch me and cheer for me essentially is it's just one of the best feelings.
What were some of the highlights, some of the moments when you're this is getting real, you're on the one team, things are going good, but what are some of the highlights where you're this is taking off a little bit more?
I think it was the first year I made that number 1 team for field and box. We won 8 provincials. And that was, somebody I could share that with is Eric Fennell. Eric Fennell has been one of my best friends since we were kids. So to step right into lacrosse and to make the number 1 team for both field and box, and then to win the championships like those same year pretty much, it was something that I just, like every kid wants to do, just continue to win championships. And, we were fortunate enough to win a few years after that. And then, yeah.
Was that when Fennell was a goalie?
Yeah. It was that transition is one of the coolest things I can probably say, experience, right? Playing with him, being a goalie in junior A, right? Like it's good lacrosse out here. Mm-hmm. And then, a few years later, he's one of our top O guys, wearing number 0, which it's fun. It's funny to see, but hats off to Fennell for doing that.
What do you think was some of the lessons that you learned that kind of helped you with lacrosse? Because lacrosse really makes you think. You got to have a little bit of IQ. You got to kind of understand just kind of how to defend yourself and mm-hmm. Especially in the box lacrosse. Field you can go off the field a little bit, but box lacrosse you're stuck there. So you kind of have to have a little bit. You got to be wired a certain way. What do you think it was about you that wired you to play lacrosse the way you do?
I think just being mentally strong. Right, there's a lot of lacrosse players have a couple screws loose. Right, it's bound. So, but just to know where that fine line is, and to walk that fine line, which I like to do. Just as a person, I like to take risks, and lacrosse, I like to, if I know I'm playing against, say Curtis Dixon, one of the best players in the league for years, I like that test. Right, so I like to, as much as we were friends and we played in Calgary, I like that matchup because he is one of the best players, and you're going to get the best out of him, and he's going to get the best out of me, and that's that just makes a lacrosse player, I think, want to continue to strive and make a label for yourself.
Was it even obviously probably playing minor, you did play both ways, but even having guys like St. Catherine's fraternity and cousins of Billy D and Steinhaus, did those guys help you a lot along the way of kind of playing wise and coaching you up?
I think so, yeah. Growing up, obviously going to the Bandits games, mm-hmm. living right there was super cool, and just being around them and seeing not so much that lifestyle, but some of these guys make careers out of lacrosse, and I'm fortunate enough that I can do that. So it was just something that I fell in love with, right? And I wouldn't trade it for anything. If I could go back and play hockey and baseball, I probably would. But would I love it as much as I love lacrosse? And where lacrosse has taken me thus far, it's been amazing.
Because I remember even talking to your uncle the one time we were at the Hag Bowl, and that's what he was telling me about your dad being really good at baseball. And mm-hmm. was that little factory that was kind of there? But I think it's condemned now. And he's
GM, yeah.
He's that GM plan. He's Tyson Bell's dad would hit home runs right from here all the way over.
I remember. So I grew up about a minute from that diamond there, and going there, watching him play, and he would hit it over the GM plant, which is some guys just get it over the fence, and he's putting it over the building. Mm-hmm. was have some fond memories of that, but it's something I enjoyed doing.
You said that earlier that some guys you got to have a little bit of screws loose to play lacrosse. Have you ever come across any teammates who had too many screws loose? And how'd you deal with that? Because that can happen. That can happen in minor lacrosse, where you're just I don't know what's going on with this person, but they're not playing lacrosse. They're just literally fighting.
I mean, you're always going to get a few players like that. There's a few players like that in NLL, right? And I don't know, what their job really is, other than to, you see it a lot in the summer times too, mm-hmm. or even in tournaments. I've realized, and that's kind of why I've stopped playing in tournaments, because there are guys that go out there and it's not that they're going out there to play. They love the game. They just love the rough side of things, and that's when stuff kind of gets squirrely a bit, and you got to worry about myself. I got lacrosse coming up. I can't be out here, taking the chance of getting hurt and then hurting my season coming up. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a teammate that's really been what the hell is this guy doing? You know what I mean? We were all pretty, at least the teams that I've been on, we've all been fairly squirrely, I guess. But yeah.
Like you said too, like like those tournaments, or I even kind of see it more too, where I'm like, I don't know why some of these guys are trying to run guys, or especially like yourself. I'm sure like being in a pro, somebody you never know who may take liberties, or at least like when you get to play with hot tamales and play with all the St. Catharines guys, at least in a Masters thing, it'd be a little more fun. And then too, like even giving back, like you do a lot of stuff with like Lydia's foundations and stuff like that, and Kevin, and like I said, it just seems like St. Catharines has a really good, even though it's much bigger, like than than Six Nations of like your spacing. It seems like it's that lacrosse is very tight knit there.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'll always take to the grave with me is giving back to the community. It's something that I've done for a long time, and I don't think I'll see myself stop doing that, especially for my city, for Six Nations, obviously. Like Six Nations to me is like my second home, right? I've played junior here, not here, but played against the Arrows. And then obviously being part of the Chiefs for how many years. So it's something that that I'm very fortunate enough that I'm able to do. And, for me to be able to share the wealth with not only myself, my family is for the kids. Everything's for the kids. And I think you'll see that, with time to come.
Because even in Halifax, right? Like you do a lot of, seems like they're a lot of giving back with the kids and being a fan favorite and junior NLL and everything, right?
Love doing that. Love coaching the junior NLL, right? You get to see all these kids from all over, and it's cool. There's some teams that bring, like you get the Buffalo kids, right? There's a lot of kids that play that are from Buffalo or even Toronto. You get all those kids that play in the track, and it's cool to see like Halifax, for instance, or even Saskatchewan, like those kids are from Saskatchewan. They might have like one or two kids. Like when with our Halifax team, we'll bring a couple kids from Six Nations if we can't pull enough kids. So for it to be strictly those kids from those cities, and you get to work with them, I think it's something a little extra special.
And like you said, the Halifax seems like a lacrosse hungry, like they're hungry for lacrosse. Like they want to, even when, like you said, like some of those fans, they come here for they're like, I love the Chiefs because they have these players from Halifax and they'll fly in and take vacation times and just to watch the Chiefs and stuff, or watch just being around different T-Bird players, which is pretty cool.
Is there any part of lacrosse that you don't like just like anything at all of lacrosse? Like I know we talked briefly before about something about other stuff, but like even something like stuff like that, is there anything about lacrosse that you don't like, or that something that deter you away from the game?
There's always going to be those naysayers, those haters that are always going to be, the social media people who, that's the stuff that they want, right? That's the stuff that they try to get out of people, is they try to get a reaction out of you. And, like I said, being mentally strong, that's where you got to, remember that you're a professional. You got to act like a professional. And, it's something that, it's not a hard thing to do, right? Because like everyone's human, right? Everyone's going to make mistakes and whatnot, but it's important to remember that you are a professional and to act like one.
Who are some of the coaches that you had the privilege of being under?
One of my first coaches, and he's well known, is Matt Atwood. Matt Atwood, back from St. Catharines. He was my first coach in lacrosse, and very fortunate enough to be a local guy. I grew up watching him play and his brothers, and he's definitely at the top of the list. I had Kurt Malowski when I was with Calgary. That was awesome. Just obviously, I didn't really know too much. I knew the name, but him as a person and what kind of person he was, to be able to work with him for all those years and to win a championship with him is something, that you can't take away from somebody, right? You have those memories that'll last a lifetime, and it was fun to be with that guy. But another one, Chuck Wilbur, when I was at Onondaga, the legacy that guy had prior to me going to Onondaga, it was cool, to kind of be a part of that, right? And we had a friendship that was very close. He was like a father figure to me, obviously with me living up in Syracuse. So, for a person that I could lean on, then not having my dad there was special to me. So, big thanks to him for that. And then I can go on and on with like coaches. It's just like the coaches that I've had have been amazing. Like Mike Kersey with my Halifax team, St. Catharines guy. Obviously everyone knows who he is and what he's done in the NLL, and for me to be able to work with him again, very special for me. Little homegrown talent there, which is kind of cool. And then with the Chiefs, right, we have John Tavares, Dewey Jacobs, like those
legendaries.
Exactly, like some legends, and those like the coaches that I kind of named, I think are people who lacrosse players want to be around, right? Because they've done it, and for them to excel at the coaching level at this very high level, it's just super cool to be a part of.
And like you said, like that Mouser, Kirk Molesky, right? They look how players are following him to Vancouver. Like he's a guy they all want to be around. And kind of going back to like OCC, like how did that process go of you being like, hey, I want to kind of take the field route, and then like getting recruited there, and then also too like winning back-to-back national championships and being like pretty much their main defender there. You and Oakley Thomas kind of ran the show on the back end. Was Warren the goalie then as well then too? No, he was gone by then maybe.
My first year
First year he was there? Okay.
My first year, yep. And then the second year we had Holden McDonald, who later on went to RIT. But the whole process of that was, you want to get an education. Yeah. With whatever you do, you want to get an education, and go play D1 somewhere in the States, right? That's, I think, every lacrosse player's dream. But mine was a little different, only because, what really came back and bit me in the butt was my grades, right? Through the clearinghouse process, it really came down to my high school grades. And I wasn't really, as much as I was playing lacrosse, I wasn't thinking of, what I'll be doing in the next couple months. So, like I said, it came back and bit me in the butt. And, I had a scholarship to Syracuse, which was a dream of mine, right? Watching Sid Smith come from Six Nations, he was my favorite defender, and I wanted to kind of take that path, same as him. So, not getting cleared through the clearinghouse, kind of, it took a turn for some things, and fortunate enough, I can't remember who I was talking to, but they basically guided me to Onondaga. Being a feeder school to Syracuse was pretty cool. And like you said, being able to win 2 championships there, Defender of the Year there, was something really special to me, because that was like, one of my most, biggest accolades, I think, at that time. And it was something that, that I'll cherish forever.
Because really, besides Sid Smith, you're probably like the second best defender that came out of there, right? Like, yeah, you didn't go to Syracuse, but you're tearing it up on the pros, Team Canada, MLL, right? So you're still taking it all to the next level.
Yeah, it was just a really weird thing. Like I had in sight like what I wanted to do, and then that didn't happen. So I had to go to Onondaga, which wasn't a problem. I loved it there. It was one of the best years of my life there, and there was still talk of me being able to go to Syracuse, but I had to take all these winter classes, take summer classes, and even when I still did that, it still wasn't enough. I could have went to Syracuse, but I would have had a red shirt for a year. And me personally, which it sucks even just talking about it, just to think, just struggling with school was a big thing for me, and that was what the make it or break it part for me.
Well, so, even too, it seems hard of like just talking to different people around here of the U.S. of just like what, like a guy said he went to Albany, whatever, he took history at McKinnon, didn't transfer over or equivalent. Like even just probably going to school in Canada was tougher, right? Of what they take for credits and everything, right? So it's like you're kind of already behind the 8 ball just there.
Exactly.
What do you think that you want like your legacy to be? Like at the end of the day, like let's say you're 45 years old, you still planning on playing lacrosse at 45?
Oh yeah, I'm playing till these legs don't work no more.
Like if Vino and Paul Dawson and those guys are doing
exactly.
it, Benny, right?
And that's like, one thing I said even first couple years into the NLL. I said I was talking to somebody and they said like, when do you think you'll be able to wrap it up? I'm like, one of my favorite players is Johnny T, and I want to play longer than him, right? If he can do it, there's a handful of guys that are up, not that up in age, but that are getting up there. Like the Dawsons, Brody Merrill, Ryan Benesh, like these guys are putting 18, 19 years in this league, and to be able to do that, it's pretty cool because, from when they first started playing to now, I think it's totally different lacrosse. So it'd be cool to play as long as these old dogs stay up.
What's something that you think that you've like learned specifically from like Halifax? Like just being with that team, being around that crowd, being with the Chiefs, being around some of these Six Nations players. Is there anything different that you've learned as to compared to like playing with other teams?
I think, it's pretty cliche to say, but I think it's just the family, right? Like those are your brothers. Those are the guys you're going to war for every single weekend. Whether you're a part of that team or not, like once you join, our Chiefs team, you join our Thunderbirds team, it's all the same dynamic, and one goes, we all go type mentality. And, but, our Halifax team is, I think, a little extra special just because we're, such a new team to Nova Scotia. And, the only thing really Nova Scotia had was their hockey team, the Mooseheads. So for us to bring a new sport that really wasn't that big in Nova Scotia at that time, but I think, once we've came and we brought some big players along who opened up some eyes for some kids and some families, I think it's, it's special because, that's how it should be, right? You should want to go somewhere, be welcomed, and then just continue to grow. Like from when I started playing Halifax to now, there's been an increase of fans in our arena. So to be able to fill the arena with beloved fans and true fans of us players, it's pretty special.
What's another arena that's kind of like Halifax? Like obviously like Banditland, they got a big following, but is there what's another like another big venue like that where it's just like when you get there and you play out of there, like you can't really explain it. Like it's just huge.
There's a few. There's Calgary, obviously. I put some time in there.
House?
Yep, that's Colorado. Colorado's the same thing. Sask is more like us, right? They don't fit 18,000 people. It's a hockey rink. It's the same as us. 11,000 people in. And years ago, when I was on Calgary, when Rush went on their run and won some championships, I think that really brought out the best of Sask. And then you go to their games and you see they're sold out every single game. But it's those big rinks that you kind of mentioned that it's those are the games that are easy to get up for, right? Being in front of all those Buffalo fans. Everyone knows how the Buffalo fans are. They're crazy all game. And obviously Buffalo is one of the top teams. So to be able to go and do that in that kind of environment, you're going to get the best out of everybody.
And then even like, how was it like playing in Calgary with like a team that was owned by an NHL Flames and then winning a championship for them too, right? Like in a big market like Calgary. Amazing.
I mean, when I lived in Calgary for those years, it was pretty cool. I had family out there, so it wasn't like I was out there alone. And shout out to Jeff Schaller for kind of taking me in. As much as I had my own place, he was like that guy who invite me for dinners and take me to this place, take me to that place. He got me into skiing. He took me out. My first time I ever went when he was snowboarding. He took me out to Banff, and I fell in love with it. But back to the arena, it's like I said, it's just those games are super fun to be a part of, and whenever you can get a W in a rink that sells out like that, those are the ones that you don't forget.
How do you normally connect with like teammates? Like I'm a music guy. Like I'm the DJ at some of these lacrosse games and stuff like that. So I connect a lot with music. How do you connect? Like, are you an art guy? Do you like movies, or like what is it? What is it for you?
I don't know. Just I think me as a person, like I like skateboarding, biking. Like I think I'm doing stuff that an athlete at my level shouldn't be doing. Mountain biking, going like dirt bike.
You got life insurance?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it more mountain more than like the BMX?
There's a little bit of everything.
There's an older guy around here, and we were just talking the other week. I guess he kind of quit lacrosse at one point and got real into it. And then when he went out to North Shore Indians in 2017, he just pretty much went there because he wanted a bike and bike all around.
I mean, that's the
BC.
place to do it. But like that's just the stuff I enjoy doing, and that was the stuff I did when I was a kid. And some people do it, and then they get to a certain age and they just stop. But like I have a love for all that stuff. snowmobiles, ATVs, dirt bikes. Like I love doing that stuff to a point, right? Obviously, you got to think of you're not going to go out there and doing too much stuff, so you hurt yourself. But
you're not jumping off any cliffs the Tuesday before your Halifax game.
Yeah. No, that's definitely not happening.
Yeah.
What would you? How would you even describe the culture of lacrosse in St. Catharines? Like, how would you describe it? You have been there. You know what it's like. What's the culture like?
I think it's a it's like a legacy town. It's a legacy town for me. I've been saying that for a few years now. You just look at some of the players that have come out of there. Joel McCready, the McCreadys even before him, Corey Small, Eric Vince, Matt Vince. Like the list just goes on.
Like there's probably at least a solid 15 St. Catharines.
Yeah,
guys in
like
the
if
show right
if
now, right?
I think if St. Kitts wanted to make a senior A team, I think you'd get a lot of, maybe not the older guys coming back into the game, but you'd still get a handful of St. Kitts kids that would want to be a part of that. But like I said, it's just a rich history city, and even dating back to the Minto way back when, Corey Kahn, Sean Greenhall, players like that. I think it's cool to be able to have players that you can look up to and kind of be a part of that.
Because even like so when you played minor, was it just athletics then? Because I remember always hearing that one side of town was athletics and the other side would have been probably your side, right? Would have been Spartans.
Spartan, yeah, that's out like Meriton way. I'm where I grew up was more downtown, so I was St. Catharines, and that was even before my time. So by the time that I got into lacrosse, it was the only Spartan team was the junior B team, right? And then they, as of the last couple of years, they
went all athletics, right? Got bought.
Athletics, yeah.
But then you played one season for the Spartans as well as playing for the Saints. You had one season playing junior B, and senior B. And I remember seeing a couple of guys, Book Elliott and Dustin Endicott, a lot of Cody Johnson, a lot of guys from here even were on that team. Right?
Yeah, that was pretty cool to be a part of. I was super young. I think it was 2011, so I was grade 11.
I was like joking around with the guy Book. I was like, "This is when Tyson Bell looked up to you. Now you look up to him." And you looked like you were like 16, probably. You looked like 16, a kid in the picture.
Yeah,
for sure.
16, 17. It was just crazy. Like I didn't really sprout up until like later in high school, like grade 12. I was always, even in minor, I was always the shortest guy. And then now I like the guys that I played with that were much bigger than me. I like tower over all of them. So it was cool to. Obviously not cool, but it was something to be, a little late bloomer, I guess you can say, in my height and my strength and whatnot.
So your coaches wouldn't have been able to see the athlete, I guess. Like they probably seen just
maybe
smaller
something
version,
in me.
I guess.
Yeah, smaller version maybe. And then, once I went to OCC, I think is kind of right around that time when I had that sprout. And
How was college life like off the field, outside of lacrosse? What was college like? What kind of student were you? You said you didn't have the best grades, so like what were you spending most of your time doing?
Because I didn't have the best grades, that was something I had to focus on to stay in school. And if you don't have good grades or a certain percentage, I guess, then the school just kicks you out. And I couldn't do that to myself. I couldn't do that to my parents. So that was, when we weren't playing lacrosse, we were where our apartments were right across the street from school. So you'd find us out on the turf. You'd be inside the SRC arena shooting the ball. We were always just together, essentially, which was super cool. And whether we go to the mall, like I'm not going to the mall I'm not going to the mall alone. Like I'm going with 3, 4, 5 of our buddies. So, but yeah, back to your question, it was just. I had to really focus on school for those 2 years because, the main goal was to get out of OCC and go to Syracuse. So I still obviously fell short, but I mean, I think I did all right with jumping in the NLL pretty early, and here we are.
Like, look, some guys, if they don't go to Houston, they just done playing, right? And like I said, you played world stages and pro field and box and everything and still going, right? So.
Yep. Very fortunate.
Do you think you'll get back in the field? Like, do you want to try back out for a Canada field or
I don't know.
Sixes or anything?
It's tough to say. Obviously, lacrosse is lacrosse, and I love it. But I don't know. I'm not the same. I don't love it as much as I used to. Obviously, I enjoy watching it, like the PLL or if Canada's playing. I enjoy watching it, but for me to go back into play. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't know, you can't really take something away from a person who wins 3 Mann Cups in a row.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know, it's tough to want to leave that and to go play field lacrosse somewhere. So, yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to like the upcoming lacrosse players now? Like, let's say like again, what's the route to get to like where you are today? Like, you went to school, but not every lacrosse player is going to go to school. Some of them are just going to some of them just be drafted really super young, right? So like, what would you say is the best route, or do you just know what works for you? What do you say like, in generally what you see like some of the upcoming players, like what's the route they're taking?
Pretty short for me. I mean, I guess I can just refer to one of the tattoos I have on my leg. Shout out to Nunzi, who's probably going to see this. He always, when we're in our huddles, he'll always say, dream, believe, achieve. And I believe in that 110%. If you dream it, you can do it. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I did when I first started playing lacrosse. And, I got a few championships under my belt that, I never thought that I'd even get a sniff at. But, I mean, here we are. And, it's something that you got to fall in love with. Don't just go play just because you can play, right? Make a full commitment.
Do you ever see that in some players? Like, some players are just super talented and they are playing just for the sake of playing, and they may have like lost that love for it. Have you ever like been on the floor with someone or been a teammate with someone and just had to be like, man, don't let that talent go to waste. Like fall back in love with lacrosse or just give it up type of thing.
Yeah, you see that a lot. I've had a lot of friends that I grew up with who were, me by all means wasn't one of the top players on my team growing up, and there's players way better than me. And, to see them not even, pick up a stick in 10, 15 years, it kind of sucks to see, right? Because it's like one of those wasted talent things where you see that this person has so much potential and could make it at numerous levels of lacrosse. And then for them just to, like you said, kind of fall out of love with it. It's one of those things, like I said, where you got to want it, and you got to, sacrifice your body, sacrifice everything to make it to where you want to be. And, me personally, I think that's what I've done. And, I'm super happy to, go places that I've been, play on certain teams that I've played on, and win championships.
What do you think happens in people's lives that makes them actually stop playing? Like everyone ends up having kids. Everyone ends up wanting to you end up hitting puberty, and then all of a sudden you just stop playing lacrosse because you're out there chasing women or stuff like that. But like, what do you think is how can we bring more kids in to want to play lacrosse and just do the right thing and believe, achieve, and everything like you said.
It's it's tough. I think a lot of it is you have to think of injuries, right? And injuries, usually typically scare people away from things. The mental side of things, if you're not in a good mental space. I've known a handful of guys that have stepped away from lacrosse, meaning like they've taken a break and then they just never came back from it. They just, fell out of love with it. And as a lacrosse player, you don't like to see that, right? The players that you have on your team, like I said earlier, those are your brothers. Those are the guys that you can call at any point of the day, and kind of just let everything off your chest if that's who you feel comfortable with. Everyone has a different mindset and of who they want to talk to or what they want to say. Me personally is my buddies. Like those are my guys that I would do anything for, and they would do anything for me. So but like there is a few scenarios, I guess you could say, of why people fall out of fly. I can't even speak.
We'll edit it. Fall out of love with lacrosse.
Fall out of love with lacrosse, yeah. But I just hope, we just continue to grow this game, because this game is for everybody.
And you have a very close cousin, Latrell Harris, that plays lacrosse. You said you started later. Did he start playing after you played?
No, he started pretty early.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah. He was a hell of a hockey player too. And he has a pretty crazy story too, right? Like, he was a good hockey player growing up. Got drafted by the Guelph Storm.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I don't think many people know that. So for him to be able to do that and go to camp, got to experience it all, didn't love it. So he went back to lacrosse, and
And then like this year with Chiefs, I know you were teammates in Team Canada before, but was this the first time, you being a bit older than them, that you guys
Yep.
you got to be like teammates on a legit team?
First time, yeah. I mean, we played in some tournaments and all that together,
Yeah.
but other than like Team Canada in Israel, that was really the first time. And this summer was awesome, right? It just gave our family more reason to come out and watch us and do the thing that we love. And I love that guy. He's one of my best friends, and to see him, become the player that he's became is pretty cool to watch.
Well, you said too, like a lot of families, you're so closely related, first cousins, and then both be two of the better defenders in the league, right? Like, it's pretty special.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you guys ever play against each other?
Um,
Like actually like just one-on-one and see who's better.
I mean, a little bit when we were growing up, but not as of late. I think it would, on my side of things, because I think we're two little different type of players. He's not as physical as I am.
Ooh,
Yeah, I mean,
shots fired.
but yeah, he's a beast, right? Like defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
In both field and box lacrosse. So it's it's cool to be a part of.
I seen some of the highlights there of some of the pre-games. He was throwing around Dowick there, and some of the I don't know, was it opening seasons or whatever they call it?
Oh, like
Preseason
preseason
games?
for the Rock.
Preseason.
Yeah, he already run that guy over on, was it Rochester, I think, or something?
Rocher.
There was a whole
Colorado.
highlight of it.
Yeah,
When
he's
he
beasting
does
out.
that latch where once he gets underneath you and he has you hooked in, it's game over. And it's exactly what happened.
And like you said, he came back from that knee injury, and that's what even a lot of those other lacrosse talks are all talking about. He looks 100% and ready to roll.
Oh yeah,
this year.
yeah. He's 100%, and I think everyone can kind of say that.
I think the one time this year he had that sweet goal, and he kind of crease dived. Was that versus Kohlberg?
Yeah,
that
in the
nobody
corner.
wanted to mess with you guys, right? You were kind of grabbing the guy.
It was that was pretty funny. Obviously, with the family sitting right there where they sit behind the net, they I think we were killing a penalty. And
I think you guys was that the one where you guys were bullying the guy?
yeah, well, he was laying on the ground trying to get his
He's like
his
just
stuff
trying to get
together.
up, and you're just like sit back down.
Yeah, I think
He
the
was
goalie
like
kinda pushed him a little
they
or something,
cornered
right?
him they cornered him, and I was like, okay, he's gonna get out of this. I know he will, but I'll come in, maybe set like a little pick to open things up, and sure enough, did that. Went underneath, crease dive, goalie fell on top, and then obviously when someone hits the goalie, it's gonna cause some stuff. So I knew their guys were gonna come in, and you got pushed, that guy got a push. I was like, come on, let's get out of here. Nice
We're
goal.
gonna have to get this stat for you. So when I was watching the Game 7 of the Mann Cup, a couple of the lacrosse guys around here, and they swear that they think you lead the league in those game icing goals.
Empty net.
Yeah.
I might have had, I don't even know,
And even that
12 this summer, which is like even just crazy to think of. I think I had I scored a few times with the goalie in the net, and that's just so funny to say. Like just explain that to somebody, like, well, where was the goalie? It's just like, well, you wouldn't understand. But the one game I did have a hat trick, and I haven't had a hat trick in a very long time. So to do that was pretty cool. But yeah, my phone was blowing up after every game, and I'd have an empty net goal. I would hear about it.
Yeah, those guys were like, I'm pretty sure. And then you almost had one in that last preseason game that was here versus, was it Georgia? Oh, no, Colorado. You guys
Colorado,
played.
yeah. Yeah, my buddy on their team, he's like, I wasn't letting you score that. He's like, you did that enough this summer. We had a good laugh.
There you go.
So we're gonna talk about this season, but first let's get back to last year with the Chiefs. You guys obviously won the Mann Cup, but tell us a little bit about the season, how'd it go? Was there any downfalls? Was there any barriers last year? Because we were talking about the season last year. I don't know. I can't remember. Were we saying good things? I think we were.
Yeah, we kind of, our last episode was kind of right in between where they were down in the series, but then they were just coming back to tie the series in the Mann Cup.
Was this against New West?
Yeah, that was like the last week.
That was easily the hardest lacrosse I've ever been a part of. 7 games in 9 days at that level is what was wild, right? Especially in that atmosphere, being in Queen's Park there, super cool arena, crazy fans, right? And obviously everyone saw what was going on with what happened. And but yeah, going down 2 games, I remember after game 2, before the coaches came in, I remember just like sitting in the room, like looking around. It was dead silence. You couldn't hear anything. And I'm just like, what's going on here? Like, I look at our roster. We have the best roster ever assembled, and we're down 2 games. I mean, you know, I'll give the credit where it is. And New West, they are a great team. They are a really good team. But yeah, just knowing that we were down 2 games in the Mann Cup was not us, right? Obviously, we didn't go there looking to sweep them. We knew we were going to get some games. But, you know, I think that after game 2, you know, little fire under our butts and definitely turned things around.
Yeah, I think that I think we were even on edge a little bit, just kind of like we all understand that the Chiefs are going to win, but still, we wouldn't think in Game 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, just we wouldn't think like that.
Yeah, no, you don't want to go into a series thinking like that. You obviously want to go into a series knowing that you're going to win and you're going to do anything it takes, and that goes back to, you know, sacrificing yourself, you know, finding that fine line, and I think we did that. It was a pretty scrappy series. I think anyone can say that.
And like you said, it was tough because you had even guys go down like Randy and Josh.
Yeah,
and like it was always the next man up mentality.
That's
right?
exactly it. It's who's going to step up next, right? Randy goes down, Josh goes down. Everyone knows who those players are, and it's those next guys up. You know, Brendan Bomberry, new signing with their Halifax team. One of those players that can do that, can play offense, can play defense, and you know he had to carry a lot of that load on that side. With Randy going down, but it just goes back to, you know, being that next teammate and doing what needs to be done.
And like you said too, even for him, I feel like some people out there didn't realize that some people thought Randy's gonna be out for the year, but he'll be back, and maybe that's why you guys got Bomberry. But
yeah.
I think he just really wanted to be a part of that same culture. Right? You guys got about 7 guys from the Chiefs, and hometown guys and stuff. So I think he just was like, hey, I'll leave Georgia and come to Halifax and kind of be a part of it and try to win with you guys there.
I think it was a great pickup for us. Like I said, right, he's a player that can kind of play both sides of the floor, and you know I think this year with who we have on paper, we're gonna have another pretty good year. Just over the last couple of years, we couldn't get over that first round hump, so to do that last season against Sask, you know it's definitely going to be in the back of our minds to get over that and to bring more playoff games to Halifax to hopefully hoist a championship for Halifax. I think they've earned it, and we hope to give it to them.
Well, like you said, you guys are right there, and preseason's tough and everything because everybody looks good. So until the season actually rolls out, but it should be a good season, right? Entertaining for all the teams, and you guys definitely got a good shot.
What about when the whole big fight was going on in the crowd? Like, what was the reaction on the floor? I guess, like, and did you guys even see anything? Because sometimes you're just on the floor, you're just playing, you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. A, did you see anything? And then B, like, what was the reaction, I guess, after the game? I guess, was everyone just kind of like, oh shit, that just happened? Or was it kind of like...
That was crazy. There was, like, where it was right where kind of all of our players that don't play were standing right there with all of our trainers and everything. And, there was yelling, so it caught my attention. As much as I was into the game, it caught my attention, so I saw. And then next, like, the play kept going on. So, like, guys are watching the game. I'm, like, watching the game, and then I'm looking over here, and I'm like, holy shit, there's, like, a full-on fight in the stands. Like, what is going on? I guess that all got squashed, and then at the end of the game, like, we're trying to get answers, like, who fought, because that was, like, our section, right? Like, that was our chief section. But, yeah, we knew it obviously wasn't good with what happened. And then obviously you go on social media and there's videos everywhere. And obviously everyone saw the video, but it was...
and we were talking about on the podcast.
Yeah. It was crazy. And then we found out who it was. It made it better. We're like, holy shit, like, that was pretty sick.
Yeah, that it made it exciting. It
did. It was the whole series. That's what the whole series was, right? Like it was a tough, scrappy series.
And I feel like those days they were posting those 90 fights of Miles General and all those guys, right? So then this one kind of had a little bit inkling in it.
Definitely one of the best Mann Cups that that I've been a part of and watched. You know, they have the war on the floor from years ago, which that was pretty intense too. But I think with our most recent Mann Cup, I think might top that.
Because did you win in 6 the last time around out there in 23?
That was in New West.
Yeah.
New West, and then it was at the ILA against Vic, and then back there last time.
And like you said, a lot of people, because they were like, this was the first time the Chiefs went to 7 games, right? But hey, you guys still won it in 7 and still undefeated, right? So.
That's right.
And then they were price gouging, making us pay what was it, $25 to watch that stream there?
Then everybody finally got off their wallets for the game 7, and it was free.
Yeah, I know. There was a lot of stuff going around. Like even my wife was saying, like the stream would cut out, it would freeze, like you'd miss the whole. She missed like 2 periods each game.
Then there was I kind of bought it, but then that one was freezing. And then I got a refund on it, but
you got a refund?
The game 6. I was trying to watch it, and then I was like,
"How did you get a refund?"
Did
you email them?
Yeah.
Oh, you're one of them.
Well, then they were doing a Google meetup. So somebody was doing a free Google meetup, and then like the link was going around, and then you would just see different lacrosse heads around that were kind of hopping on this free. I had to download the app quick, and it was all free. I don't know who really put it on, but the link was going around social media. Hey, do you want the free link for game 6?
Yeah, whoever was running that shit show that they had going on streaming wise was brutal. Like even trying to watch the game like after our game, it was not good. And then I think once like Delbs got on social media and started chirping WLA, I think that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's pretty entertaining. And like you said too, when he was like, I had to go to game 2 because game 1 just cut out so bad. So
guy lives there.
Yeah.
All right. So you have any more questions about the Mann Cup?
No, nothing. Like you said, so what do we got here? We got two junior college championships, right? Then you won an NLL and now 3 man. Am I missing any other championships? Like you're kind of running out of fingers.
Couple tournaments.
Kind of running out of fingers.
Couple tournaments, but that don't count. But yeah, very fortunate enough to win those championships. Right, they're not easy. There's guys that like Brody Merrill, for instance, and I want to drop names, but
no, definitely right.
Like a guy of his caliber has played at all levels, was the best defender for years. I think he was like in 18 or 19 years in the league, or 20 years maybe, and not even a sniff at a championship, which is crazy to think, right? But that's just how lacrosse is.
And do you think too, even like in these other sports like NBA and stuff and NFL, everybody's, even though it is like sometimes with stats, these are all team games where they're kind of rip on the Charles Barkleys and the different guys that Patrick Ewing and stuff didn't win, or some quarterbacks, right? Like, oh, this guy never won a Super Bowl. Do you think that kind of has some meaning to legacies of some of those guys that haven't won? Even Brian Benesh, he hasn't won, right? And he's hoping this year maybe getting back in with Buffalo, he'll win.
I hope Buffalo doesn't win.
No, I know. Honestly,
and I'll say that, like, as good as they are, I just hope they don't. I know, they are a good team, right? They've showed that. And yeah, I mean, Benny, he's been around forever too, and fortunate enough to play with him in Halifax. Super cool dude, and it's just what team can kind of put it together throughout the winter.
And then because even like you said too, like a lot of people even don't want Buffalo to win just because it's like, hey, get new blood in there, or hey, let lacrosse grow in a new market kind of win. And what do you think too of the Bandits Paul Dawson rule of?
I love it.
Yeah, like you said, I
don't play offense. I don't shoot the ball 100 times a game, but just even like to be on a power play or something like that, like just watching it was crazy.
Okay, what's the new rule?
It's like because like how Paul Dawson or those different other Bandits players would kind of, Vino would be like, Matt Vince would be the goalie, and then those D guys.
Oh, they're jumping in front of it.
Yeah, but more or less in the crease.
In the crease. So there was like 3 goalies, but like the new rule now is if you're in the crease and the ball hits you, like if you try to block it, then it's another penalty.
Because they did call it in the Vegas scrimmage.
Yeah.
I was watching it. There was a Halifax, even one of your newer pickup defenders, like next to me, and we were talking, and he's like, oh, they just made that. It's the first time it's called.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna happen. Like, even if you're just a defender, like your guy goes around the net and you're just trying to cut through the crease and it hits you, like that's going to be on the ref of how he's going to call it. Like, if you make it look like you're trying to block it, then it's going to be a penalty. But if you're just kind of there and it hits you, like, I don't know how You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they're gonna call that, so we'll have to see this winter.
And even almost like we talked about Fennell being a goalie to player, but he's became a goal scorer. Dawson was a goalie his whole life and became a defender, so he kind of had that background. So he just sit there and play goalie
and did a really good job at it, which was super annoying to watch.
Yeah, I would see all the highlights. I knew a lot of people that played lacrosse, that I played lacrosse with, and this was very low caliber of lacrosse that I used to play. That's all they did was jump in front of the ball.
Yeah,
that's literally what they were told to do. They were told to stand in front of the net and jump in front of the ball.
And like you said, like even the last scrimmage, he took one off the helmet, but he wasn't in the crease, so it's like, you know, you can still get in front of it, just can't play goalie.
I mean, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
you get so much more respect for blocking shots, right? It's like the same as NHL. You see guys getting down on their soaking it in the face. Like, you get good couple, you know, stick taps on the bench for that, and you know, goalies love that, right? So, but yeah, I'm just happy that they made a rule, so it opens up a little bit more for the old guys to be able to shoot and score.
And like you said, a guy like Curtis Dixon, that was their one like loss last year, was just Curtis Dixon kind of found a way in that. And I was watching that game, I think it was like Friday night NLL lacrosse, and Dixon actually was the only guy that could really figure out how to kind of shoot around those guys.
Yeah.
What was it like when you kind of went to Calgary? Was Del Bianco just getting in net then, or was he still kind of one of the younger guys on the team?
No, he was a young guy, young little Delbs. I remember he had super long hair. So it was just funny to see, like, from what he was, and then you know, the guy that he's become today. No, I had Mike Poulin. Mike Poulin my first year with Frankie Chiliano in net, and then Delbs was the third, and then, you know, obviously Pooley had his time and got shipped off, and it was Frankie and Delbs, and obviously everyone knows how that kind of ended, and you know, Delbs has made his name for himself. You know, coming into the league, being a backup or a third string, he definitely paved the way, the right way, to who he is today.
And then even thinking too, like you were one of there was the COVID year, but you were one of the last teams to beat Buffalo in the championship, right? You guys.
Yep.
So how was that? Kind of did a lot of your family and stuff, like at least you got to play kind of close during that series. Was that pretty good?
Yeah.
Like getting a lot of family and St. Catharines guys out there.
Yeah. That was something that I'll always remember, was beating them 2 games, game 1 in Buff, and then winning it back in Calgary. I had my uncle out there, which was amazing. But yeah, it was, those are the you know, the things that you really can't take away from a player is winning a championship, but at this level and against a team like Buffalo, who's been, you know, a top team for how many years now. It's yeah.
Like I said, you grew up watching Billy D and so that was probably a real, you know, like a kind of a full circle moment there of a team you grew up watching, family and watching people play for close to home, and then end up that's the team you beat in the championship.
Did you ever, like, going back to, like, I guess your upbringing, did you ever have any trouble, like, in the dressing room? A lot of time we talk about, like, racism on this podcast. Did you ever have experienced any racism in lacrosse?
Oh, yeah.
You're mixed.
Yep.
So did you ever, like, come across that, and, like, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, there's been a handful of scenarios where I've seen it firsthand, towards me, towards my cousin Latrell. That incident with him was back in minor, but for myself, I mean, even something as, you know, people chirping my hair, like people are saying, "Cut your hair." It's like, okay, I'm 31 years old. Like, you're not going to get a reaction on me if you're going to say that. Like, it's just stupid. But you know, there's always going to be that one person that wants to cross the line and you know, speak about race, and yeah, I may not be black, but you know, who's one to say I am and I'm not? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know anybody, why judge them? Doesn't make you look like a good person. And then when you really know the truth, then it really doesn't make you look like a good person. But it's you see it in all sports, right? You see it in all sports, and it does suck to see that, you know, in today's age that it's still going on. And that's, you know, towards natives, towards blacks, towards everybody. It's there's no room for it.
And like I said too, you guys were kind of, you and Dean, right? You had the, like, that PLL time where it's kind of where a lot of stuff was coming up then would be, BLM and stuff. How was that being like the face of kind of like trying to get racism out of lacrosse?
I remember getting reamed out about that, being a part of that, being the only mixed guy in that what was it on Inside Lacrosse?
Yeah.
He was on the front page of it.
I was even like, it was not too, where I was like, oh, like 3 of these guys are all Chiefs now. You, Josh, and Dean.
Yeah, it was. I remember getting a lot of heat for that, and even as much as you try not to read the comments on social media, it is hard to do.
Yeah.
And I read some pretty shitty stuff that was said about me, and stuff that was said about Josh. Just because you're not black, like skin color wise, that doesn't mean anything. Like you don't know anything about anybody.
Well, even like Josh, like I've heard him on interviews before and stuff say that that's where he's almost kind of found the racism, because people have said stuff about like black people and stuff, and he's like, hey, my mom's black and this and that, and like,
I've caught a handful of people that have done that too.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting, because they're going on their little rant, and then I'm just waiting to be like, you know who my dad is? Have you seen my dad? Have you seen my aunts, my uncles? Have you seen my cousins? Like I bet you not too many people would know that Latrell and I are first cousins, right? And that goes back to of knowing somebody and not knowing somebody, and what you should and what you shouldn't say.
And yeah, as I said, I just saw it was cool. I was like, oh, all these guys now are on the Chiefs. It must have been the year before Latrell, because I couldn't remember if Latrell was. I think that's when I was like looked it up a couple months ago. So I couldn't remember if Latrell was in that picture too, but he must have came in the PL the year after. I was thinking.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah.
And then even that like there was legendary. I grew up with Dominique Alexander. Like I was in 6th grade or 7th grade, and I met him at a camp at 5th grade, and he was always a big name guy, and always really good. Baldwin High School, they were rivals. I know he was in that picture, and then Kyle Harrison, he was one of my favorite lacrosse players growing up, for sure.
Too.
And like, and that had to be cool, like if kind of being at the when you were in that PL at the end of their career, where you could see some legendary guys up close and stuff.
I want to go back to the racism thing a little bit more there. Like, did you ever experience that with coaches? Because like people your own age, they have like a certain etiquette. They have like their friends, and like what they hear is from TV and stuff like that. But like a coach is older. They might just be a little bit different. They might have a little bit of extra racism in them because they're just older. They're like that. Like, did you have to experience that? And then again, like how do you deal with something like that? Like that's a generational thing.
Oh yeah. Luckily, I haven't been a part of that. I've never even heard stories about that, and I'm glad that I haven't had to deal with that or hear it. But yeah, that's exactly it, right? You get that old school mentality from when they grew up, wherever they grew up, and kind of how they were brought up, and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, especially being your head coach. That's goes back to me about head coach being someone you could really open up to and talk to, being uncomfortable. So, like I said, not having to deal with that, I think, I'm pretty fortunate with that, because, again, your head coach is somebody that you should be able to fall on and, kind of open up to certain things.
And then I think you definitely had to be pretty lucky that your first coach was a Matt Atwood, because he's such a good coach and been around and giving back. Because Chris is a bit older than you? Was Craig a bit older than you too?
Craig's a year older than me, I believe.
So was he on that first team with you as well then? Or?
I played with him in field.
Field,
okay.
Yeah. Because I was thinking like Matt's even coaching kids that aren't even his kids, right? Or family members, right? He just loves the game and wants to give back.
And I know that you coach a lot. You have a lacrosse program, After Hours Lacrosse, right?
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a recruiting team, I guess. We've got a bunch of teams. And the main goal is to get an education, and that's very important, especially being grade 9, grade 10, playing on these travel teams, going to the States, getting looked at. Again, back to me saying that was a dream of mine, is to play at a high level of D1 lacrosse in the States, and for Eric and myself and Coach Corey, Coach Evan, a lot of my good friends that I've grew up playing lacrosse with. That's our coaching staff, and for us to be able to do that in our own city is really special. We've grown over the last few years, and that's really the only thing you could ask for is to see growth, and to see the same kids plus some year in, year out join and, want to be there and, want to move on to that next level.
It even looks like 2 years you're doing a lot of skills stuff, right? Like I see you guys got a goalie school for box goalies and
stuff.
stuff.
That's been pretty new, getting the goalies. We've had a handful of goalies and, we've, pretty fortunate enough to be able to pull some NLL goalies that have that knowledge to come out and teach our kids. I'm not saying, Fennell doesn't have that still in him.
But Aiden Walsh, he's probably the starter in Calgary.
That's right. Good. So it's pretty cool that, we can do that, especially in our home city. Like me personally growing up, it was, it was the edge lacrosse that I think everyone's pretty much played. You're traveling quite a ways, you're paying a lot of money. And we have that same thing here in the city for our kids, and that was our main goal.
Well, like you said, like we were talking this huge hotbed of St. Catharines plus Niagara region, right? And then even how the Welland kids or Niagara kids, they'll end up at some point playing St. Catharines lacrosse, whether if it's end of minor or junior. And there was that gap in the marketplace, right? Like you said, edges this way, and then you got Evolve and everything else where it's all north of Toronto and Beast. So like you said, there's people that wanted to play and want to get on travel teams, right? So you and Fennell seem to do a good job of, hey, let's put this together. And it seems to be going, what's this, like year 5 maybe of this? 4?
Yeah, not 5 yet. I think it's like 3 maybe.
3? It's been a good couple of years though, so it's obviously working.
Like I said, it's just been nothing but growth. We're always getting good feedback, feedback from tournaments that we've attended. Just, we have good kids.
Okay. I have some questions here for you. And these are all based on the Halifax Thunderbirds teammates that you have there.
All right.
So I'm going to ask you some questions about them. And then I'm going to let Vale go in on you and ask all the questions about this season. And you can give us some insight on what we can expect this season. So, from the team, who's most likely to get kicked off the aux court within 30 minutes, or 30 seconds, actually? Is there anyone who tries to get on the aux court and they're just like, nah?
There's 2 guys. We have Jake Withers and Nungo. They're usually back and forth of who's going to play. Jake usually plays it. But, I would probably say Nungo.
And what's being played in the locker room?
He has his old school country tunes that he likes to play. And I'm not hating on it. I love that music. It's good golf music. That's where I fall. That's right. That's where I've fallen in love with that type of music. But I think Ninzi would definitely be kicked off.
I was playing some of that music you were talking about during the warm-ups there. And I seen his head moving.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like I like the Nixon Mitchell Mitchell Robinson talks about. He's a big country guy, I guess. Like I know, like he likes his trucks in Louisiana guy, and he was playing that when my teammates just play rap music, and I guess, and then they were playing DMX and stuff like that.
Yeah, Nungo's music is good for after our games. Especially after a win, it's kind of like just chill vibes, old tunes.
Kind of like everybody likes Joy Street and Conway Twitty and those guys. Probably likes the Zach. Probably that's really. I don't know if he's probably putting on the Zach top and stuff. Right? I never even knew who Conway Twitty was till I moved around here.
Who grabs the aux cord when you guys lose, or is it just dead silent?
Sometimes it's just dead silent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a song to kind of bring up the energy? Like, we'll get them next time.
Yeah,
throw music on.
Like, do you go with what's like your game's walkout song this year? Probably.
I have no idea. We always throw in songs in our group chat like during training camp to what we want kind of throughout the year. But I don't know. We don't have any music. I think when we lose, I think it is pretty silent. Like. I'm not really even if there was music, I probably wouldn't even be listening to it just because I'm so pissed that we lost. But I can't think of anything.
Well, what's the song that you guys would get you going then? What you play before the game?
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
A little techno, hip hop, rap. There's a song I'm thinking of that Wiz always plays before we go out. I can't even think of it right now.
Is it like a techno song? I feel like he could be like a techno guy.
It's probably just like Many Men, 50 Cent, like everyone else.
That's a banger though.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that song.
Who on the team is likely to respond to hate comments on social media?
He doesn't, but if there would be a person, it'd be Randy.
He's the one who's gonna have something to say.
I think so.
I've seen him go after Blair that one time with, I think him and Bill O'Brien had a little bit of a thing on Twitter before going.
Yeah, he's not that. I wouldn't say he's not active on social media in general, but I think if there would be any person, I think it, or me. I mean, I'll say myself.
Okay. Who is most likely to call themselves the best dancer in the locker room?
Nungo.
Yeah.
Is
he just the life of the party, or?
He's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's up there. He's pretty funny. I mean, I've seen Jammer, because like in our locker room, it's kind of like split with the O and the D. So he once the music's going and Jammer likes something that he hears, he'll come in and do a little something for us in our D room, which is always funny to see. But yeah,
he's got a little dance.
A little bit, a little dancey dance.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I mean, I guess I'm up there too. Nungo.
What are you dancing to?
Anything.
Anything, eh?
Anything. Find it in this whole body of mine.
Nope. I seen that you got married there. I seen some pictures. It looked like you guys were dancing there.
Yeah. That was an amazing night. Everything that was supposed to happen happened, and one of the best nights of my life for sure.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah,
thank you.
Okay, so who takes stretching way too seriously? Who is just too locked in?
Yeah, that's tough. Because like where I stretch is like the furthest end of the rink, so I don't really get to see the other guys at the other side. Who takes it too serious?
Do you guys like call corners and stuff? Like, do you guys like need that much separation?
Yeah, like just like rituals, right? Like I like to be. It's like my spot is different from where I stretch with the Chiefs during the season, and then where I stretch on Wednesdays when we have practice. But like down in our end, I think would be like Max Wilson, who takes it a little. It's like he's putting on a show, not a show, but like it's like the camera's on him and everything's got to be perfect. And
he's like walking.
He's moaning and groaning, and he's he's.
I want him on the pod. What's he like? What's he like?
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because you just had a good honeymoon after. Did he go on that trip?
Yeah,
or like family trip.
He came out to Jamaica. Yeah, that
time.
was. That was something.
Are you guys pretty close then?
Yeah. I mean, our whole team is pretty close. There's no really groups or anything, and that's what makes us who we are.
And like you said, with Summer Bowl and NLO, was that pretty crazy when Nungo and him dropped the gloves in the Mann Cup?
That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome, and I know that they probably talked about it a few times, and I know whenever one of them is acting up, we'll be like, "We'll get Nungo after you, we'll get Max after you," right? Like, yeah, we just have these little inside jokes that are funny.
Who is someone who comes back after a weekend with a million stories?
Thomas Hogarth.
Okay.
Thomas Hogarth.
Kind of stories.
Drew Hutchinson, our goalie.
All those Peterborough. He's from Curve Lake area. Peterborough guys.
Peterborough guys. Yeah, there's something. Those guys. No, they're all good stuff. I don't know. Like we all, even like if we go out, then we're all, like I said, we're always doing stuff together. The downtown scene in Halifax is pretty cool, with all the universities around. So there's always a lot of stuff going on, but we usually just keep to our own and have a few beers here and there.
Who's someone who used to play lacrosse that you would love for them to get back into lacrosse? Because a lot of people actually from this podcast, like that's probably the most common thing that we get is, I got back into lacrosse because of you guys. Like, you just make me want to get back out there again. Who's someone who you want to get back out there?
St. Catharines guy, Shane Adams. A few years older than myself.
Detroit Mercy.
Shane Adams.
Yep. Who I actually just ran into his dad. His dad works at one of the golf courses back home, and I hadn't seen for years, so we were, shooting the shit with him. But no, I would say Shane only because I played junior with him, and then went to high school with him and played on the field team as well. So I got to see him, be the player he was. He had a little sniff in the NLL, very short one, but he got there and went to Detroit Mercy and did all that. So, I haven't seen him or I haven't talked to him in years, but that would be probably one guy. That was the first guy that I thought of.
No, that, and like I said, I always remember he was a big player for Detroit Mercy, and probably the last time I ran into him was provincials. He was coaching with Mike Lyons, like a U13 St. Catharines team, and I knew the year before he played snipers. But then, yeah, like you said, where did these guys go? He was really good, and then all of a sudden,
it's just one of those players like we talked about kind of earlier, who kind of just not so much fall off, but like you don't know what they're dealing with at home with. They have the wife, they have kids. The little more important of a job that doesn't give you that ability to travel every weekend. So
I find that like some players will just take like a summer off, gain too much weight, and then they think they can't lose it, and it's like no, just try, get out there. You probably can. You got that muscle memory.
Yeah. What were some of the other guys that like were on your mind, like that you kind of played with like the full way up, that are some like more well known guys? Was Winnick your age or is he younger?
Who's that?
Jeff
Wittig.
Yeah,
he's younger than me. Jeff, one of my closest friends too, right? Like played those few years in Colorado and did really well. And then, that's just the difference with lacrosse nowadays. Like you get these kids that are coming from, these schools in the States, and they're like freak athletes. Whether they're huge or they're small, they're built, and you see it all the time. They come in and they take roster spots. So it happens all the time. And
do you think that's where, like you said, the NLL is changing because it's more of like this, like you said, it's fast paced nowadays, right? Everybody's a freak athlete and in shape.
And I think that just stems from their college or their university that they're coming from, right?
I think those Vancouver guys were huge.
Yeah.
Like they had a bunch of giants on their team.
Huge. They've always kind of been like that too.
Even that little bit like when like you were kind of the end of the MLL, right? Like MLL and then it was going PL, where people would always say like a guy would kind of come off his senior season in shape, like just, worked out all year and came off a season, great MLL season, but it was like, can they do that year two when they're a full-time job and not kind of having the amenities of a college D1 facility?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough, but happens, right?
Yeah.
What about some players who are in St. Catharines right now, who maybe play like Junior A? Who's someone who you think like they're definitely going to be next up out of St. Catharines?
Not a St. Catharines guy. Played there this year. Jameson Bucktooth. I think he got picked up by Colorado.
Yeah, he's still on him.
He's still on him.
Yeah.
We just seen him playing.
Yeah, so he's still on the team. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I believe Nungo was going at him a little bit.
I think at the end or whatever the one time.
I seen that.
Yeah, he's a player that comes to mind. Zavitz on our Junior A team. I think he's gonna have a good long career. He's a good player as captain of our Junior A team. Had a pretty good Minto tournament, I guess you can say, this past summer. That's all I can think of right now.
Then you guys even just picked up another St. Catharines guy too, right?
Nathan Fair.
Yeah.
Yep. He been on Philly for the last 2 years, I believe. Good stay-at-home guy, stay-at-home defender. Can take face-offs, which is always good to have on your team, so we don't have Jake taking all of our face-offs. But yeah, I'm super excited to work with him. I've with the amount of guys that we have in the city, we've been fortunate enough to rent out one of the rinks and get like 18, 19 all NLL guys for like a full equipment scrimmage. And yeah, he was there a few weeks ago. So
that's pretty good.
It was cool I didn't really know him going into it, but now I think we'll work pretty well together.
What can you tell us about this season coming up? What can we expect?
Super excited. It's a new season, right? We got a few new faces, some good additions, but we have our core team, and I think that's probably our strongest part of our team. And it's just something to look forward to. Getting this weekend's training camp done and over with our final roster spots, and then December 5th with our home opener. I think you're gonna pretty much get the same amount of excitement that you had last year with our team. With additions, like I said, with Bomber, you're gonna see him probably play a little bit of O, a little bit of D, and then players like Ethan O'Connor, who we just picked up from Oshawa. He's been in the league for quite some time, and another good stay-at-home defender, loves blocking shots. Brings that that veteran mentality, which is always good to add to your team.
Do you still feel that like the Bandits are the team to beat? Obviously they are, but like, you know, looking at everyone's roster now, is there anyone else who you can see, you know, beating the Bandits other than Halifax?
Yep. Well worded, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Buffalo has been a top team for the past few years, and they've showed that. But it puts so much pressure on them that following year, right? So, especially losing Kluge, losing Fraser to going to Vegas. I think Vegas is going to be another good team this year with, you know, picking up Mitch Jones as well. They have a whole new offense, and even watching them at the ILA last week when they scrimmaged there, I think they'll definitely be a different team, but I think they'll be, you know, hopefully making getting a playoff sniff this year.
Like you said, yeah, no, they were good. It was fun to watch. Like, even if they just played the half, but seeing Jones, Fraser, and Kluche all out there together, and then it was kind of crazy too. Because then I think just before that, on the swarmed up roster, they picked up Alex Bouquet, but never actually announced it. And then he did, I guess, good in that scrimmage because then they've kept him so far as one of the three goalies, him, Kells, and that new guy Khan.
Oh yeah.
What was the difference when you kind of went with Halifax, like defensive wise? Did the system change at all from Billy D coaching to Suter, or was it kind of all the?
No, Suits was pretty open. You know, he kind of gave us the free reign to do. Obviously, we know what we're doing, and didn't want to, you know, come to a new team and step on some toes so early. But obviously, Suter being who he is, he's, you know, when he was playing, he was one of the toughest guys in the league, and he was one of the best defenders in the league. So, obviously, with him coming in, we knew what we were getting, and you know, I love that guy. I battled with him when I played, you know, when I played for Calgary, and sort of have him behind the bench working with us, it's pretty special. Like he's not that far out of the league, right? So he still has a sense of what's going on. But yeah, it's been a pleasure with him.
Because like you said, I remember even like when the Riptide were just brand new, I guess they said at one of the scrimmages, I don't know if they were scrimmaging in Philly or versus Philly, somebody cheap shot at Tyson Gibson, and he was just freshly their rookie and first overall pick. And the next day they traded for Andrew Suter because they said somebody cheap shot at our number one overall pick, and nobody stood up and hit that. Yeah, to deal with it. So the next day they made that trade with New England to get Suter.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on where lacrosse is going, and do you think the media that is happening around lacrosse can help it, like with all the podcasting and thing?
You see that a lot now. I know a few more guys, you know, Frick and all them. Like to see those guys kind of start podcasts and you know the knowledge that they have to bring to the game, to share their stories or whatever it may be. It's cool to see, right? It's just you know, it's just a different avenue of the sport growing. You know, the sport doesn't have to grow, you know, specifically on the field. I think, you know, just getting it out there and talking about it will definitely guide more people in. And I think, you know, I think we're on that right track right now.
Do you have any like ambitions of doing stuff like maybe on camera outside of lacrosse, like maybe acting or even just getting like commercials and stuff like that?
I would love to. I mean, if it's the right fit for me, I think it would be pretty cool. I've most recently, you know, been brainstorming wanting to do my own kind of podcast type thing. You see Delbs and Pace do it out west. Obviously you have Dane and Josh, and then you know, it'd be cool. Like I would do it with my cousin Latrell. You know, I don't know if we'd have this beauty setup that you have here, but something, you know, to get something going and you know, just share our stories and, you know, a different sense of things, not just listening to all these other guys and giving your own, you know, stories and talk just lacrosse.
Yeah, I think like the more content that goes out to like amplify lacrosse and talk about lacrosse, because sometimes players just don't want to talk, and you need people to like not talk for them, but kind of make it exciting when someone doesn't want to speak up. So that's kind of like what we're here to do, is like we just kind of like make jokes, be a little entertaining and stuff like that. But I always wonder that, like, do some of the top tier players think that we're helping lacrosse or bringing it down, I guess? Because, you know, some people can just think we're trolls. Or some people could be like, no, I love that show. I love what they talk about. I love wherever the conversation goes. So like that's why it's intriguing to me, is just to know that we're on the right path.
Absolutely.
Are you signing with Loden as a new sponsor? I know they said they were sending you stuff, and did you just get that stick all dyed up and everything?
Hammer's kind of been Him and I have been kind of going back and forth with it. Yeah, I got something coming in the mail.
Nice.
So we're gonna try it out. I guess it's the new Tonka head. And we're gonna try it out and see what's going on with it. I've been using my same setup for how many years with the same head. So
did you use the Epic? Is it the
ID Vision?
Yep.
Which was when they first started. It was a high school head for kids, and it was just supposed to be like a little, like a test dummy head type thing. And then they didn't get, I don't know the true facts about it, but they didn't get good feedback about it. And then I just continued to use it. Schreiber continued to use it.
Randy too, maybe.
Randy, yep, Shanks. So it was, but it's been my favorite head for the last, I don't even know.
The guy at the sports store in Halifax, when his kid was playing, I think in like the Canada games or something recently, like last year when he was in town and was at a Chiefs game, he's like, we can't keep that ID head in stock from Epic. He's like, all the kids want it. Tyson Bell and Randy use it.
Yeah, it's my favorite head. Just everything about it, how it sits, how it feels. But this new loading head, I think, is pretty similar.
Yeah,
so
it is like nice wide and stiff and everything.
What would you? What type of commercial do you think that you'd be in? Are you a Subway? You gonna Harvey's, Wendy's, McDonald's? Are you gonna be like the Gap?
I don't know. I like something to do probably with shoes.
Shoes? Okay.
Yeah, I got these new things on now that
What's
are
your
just
favorite pair of shoes?
Nice, comfortable.
Jordan 4s.
Okay.
Yeah, like Jordan, Nike. I like to see. I like to express who I am as a person and athlete through my shoes, and I got something cooked up for the winter this year. So
did you? I think you had those where you did you sell, or he was something with those. I seen was it New Balance shoes with the cat like
the off-white.
Yeah, those are sweet.
Which was pretty cool, like off-white laces and like a typical Nike off-white shoe. It was just on a New Balance shoe. So I got like a lot of talk about that. It was pretty cool to be able to wear.
You ever see someone play lacrosse wearing some Yeezys? Some like Red Octobers out there.
No, that would be.
Or do you chirp Hossack's little toe shoes, or is it?
Don't even get me started on those things. I still wrap my head around I just don't get it. I mean, good for him to be able to use it and to play professional lacrosse in those things, because I don't know what other athlete in any other sport would want to do that, but
would want to do that.
I just seen
whatever works for Haas.
Yeah.
All the power to him.
I just seen that Robinson guy get him with a good pick the other day, and he was like, and your whole bench, I think, everybody loved it that he knocked Hossack down. Everybody's like, weight room.
That's funny.
Yeah. So if you any last minute questions?
No, I think we're all wrapped up. And
okay. All right. I want to thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for coming on the show. This is the Creators Game Podcast, episode 42. Until next week, we're out of here. Peace.